This is Neem with the Octothorpe Protocol, and this is a little bit of a present for the atmosphere. For a little while now, we've been kind of lightly griefing some of you when you say things like, what if you could tweet with your own website, or we should add social features to our websites, or Blue Sky should be hooked up to the web, because we are a protocol that lets you add a social layer to a regular website without being part of a platform. And so this is the thing we do. But lest you think we don't love ATProto and the atmosphere, which we do, we have chosen ATProto for our first demo of integrating Octothorpe Protocol with external protocols. So without any further ado, I'll just show you how it works. So this is just a proof of concept app. It's running locally. And let's just go find some websites. We can search by Octothorpe. I'll take a second. Oh, cool. Here is my new post about how to integrate OP with AT. So let's tweet about that. So down here, you see different ways that we can prepare it. I'm going to preview it for Blue Sky. Here's my preview record. And when I click publish, we can see the record in our AT inspector, and then we can view it on Blue Sky. So that's real fun. And the thing is, this is just a tweet. It doesn't have the content of the web page. And because Atmosphere is a beautiful ecosystem, there are things like leaflet.pub where you can do a full blog using Atmosphere. So let's do that. Just gonna get my link and let's prepare it for standard.site. That's the one we want. And let's prepare it for leaflet preview. And here we are. We have all the content that we want in the shape that we want. And when we click publish, we should be able to see that on, whoops, wrong one, on leaflet. Here we are. Okay, so here's my leaflet post. And where's my original post? Here's my original post. You know, we're missing a little bit of formatting, but we have the plain text in here. And then we can also inspect the record in the PDS and all that good stuff. So what's going on here? I should probably back up and explain what Octothorpe Protocol is. Octothorpes are hashtags that work on any website. We have been around for about 2 years, public for about 18 months. And the core of what we do is that we let you use hashtags and other social features on regular websites without being part of a platform. This is our main relay. It's got about 250 different sites, lots of tags, and some web rings. And why do we have web rings? It's because once you solve the problem of how do you get arbitrary metadata from an arbitrary website and connect it to arbitrary metadata from any other website, you can basically do all the social media things. It's all just a matter of metadata and relationships, and we store it in a RDF knowledge graph. So you can do hashtags, you can do backlinks, you can do mentions, you can do web rings, and we have a pretty robust API to get all this stuff out in different ways that you want. And so the first part of what we're building here is that question of how do we get it out? How do we look at a web page and decide what counts as metadata? So the way that we do it is called a harmonizer. And we're getting ahead of ourselves there with that one. Let's go up to the default harmonizer. So Harmonizer is basically just a JSON schema that tells OP what to look for on the web page you send to it and what that counts as. And so this is just a way to get the description from the standard meta description field. And I'll point out here that we are not a search engine. We don't go out and index everything. We are very consent based. The idea is you tell us when you want us to look at your page. And by using a harmonizer, you can tell us what you want us to look at on your page. So OP doesn't really store any data for any of the sites in the network. And that's why it's a network and we're not a platform, because there's no cost of exit. We treat the web page as the canonical source of data. And a harmonizer is just a way to extract some meaning from that in a deterministic way. So you can load any valid harmonizer into the request to look at your site. You can say, look at my site and interpret it this way. And a harmonizer is the way that you set that interpretation. And what we're looking at down here are some custom harmonizers, and we'll get to the standard site one after that. So if we go back to Octothorpe's, so that's what we see. You know, we'll just run the search again so you can see what it looks like. That's how we're able to make groups of websites based on their shared tags. You know, these are different URLs, but they're all using the demo hashtag. And right here, we actually have 3 different ways that we can get that information back out of the knowledge graph. You know, we have it in a HTML list. You can get it out as RSS. So every query or form of query that you can get out of the API, you can also subscribe to by RSS, which means like you could have a blog roll that people subscribe to, or people could subscribe to, you know, every page in your web ring that gets posted from anybody who's on the web ring. And then also we have the raw JSON response. Our format we call a blobject. This is just the full debug response. So we've got a bunch of meta information, including the query and everything. But this is a blobject, and as you see, it kind of looks like a harmonizer. It's you know, just a context object, and this is the metadata that we have gotten from the pages that we've looked at. And so there are more formats in the world than HTML, RSS, and blobjects. And that's what we've been working on, and that's what we are looking at right now. If you have something where there are a bunch of different apps that are able to look at a shared set of data and present it in different ways based on different definitions of the shape of that data, that's a perfect match for what we're doing. And, you know, that's the atmosphere. Those are lexicons. So anything that has a lexicon, we can output something in that shape from our data store. And the way that we do that is with a publisher. And a publisher is the sort of complement to, it's a little too big here. Oh, there we go, okay. It's the complement to a harmonizer. A publisher is a JSON definition of mappings between our data shape and the data shape you want it to be. And, you know, since it could be all sorts of things and it's not going to be a one-to-one relationship, the full structure of a publisher is a renderer, which basically interprets the information that you get out of the resolver. And since this is a proof of concept, we've got some stuff that's hard-coded in here. But overall, you know, the setup is the same. You have a renderer, a resolver, and it's based off of what the outside service you want to prepare records for is expecting. And so that's what we were using back here. So what's the difference between what we did over here and over here? Okay, so the difference between these two approaches gets at something that's core in our philosophy, which is that we don't store your data. You don't put data on OP. OP just looks at your data. And so when we're doing this, we are using a custom harmonizer that gets more information off of your website at the time of harmonizing than normal. And we can go see what that looks like. I'll go back to that. So our standard site harmonizer has what we call a document record, which is basically any content that you want to get off of something in OP goes in a document record as opposed to metadata or descriptions about the content. And right now we are not storing these in our data store because we want to be very thoughtful about when we roll out the ability to do that. Since you need this for a full blog post for the Leaflet publisher, we just simply run the harmonization. We don't write it to the data store. We get the blobject out and then we process it through the Leaflet publisher. Whereas here, we are actually querying the OP data store for records, just like we did on the Octothorpe relay. And then we are extracting information in our data store out into JSON, which we will then prepare for whatever ATProto end consumer we want to send it to. So this approach gets at something that is core to what we're trying to do here, because none of these pieces are particularly remarkable on their own. It's not hard to scrape content off a web page. It's not hard to put arbitrary JSON into the ATProto API and then post it to your PDS. But because Octothorpe's is not a place that you post content to, it's not a platform that hosts content, and instead it is a protocol for basically putting an API on top of whatever document you own, whether that's a web page or a record in a PDS or a file on your own hard drive. Because that's how it's set up, all of these records that we just created have the same semantic weight in our system. So we can treat the PDS record pretty much the same way that we treat the information we have about the web page. That means that we can see interactions based on the web page that are coming from ATProto. We can see the comments and whatever else is coming down. And we can use the same tools within OP that we use to look at a website to look at an ATProto record and the things attached to it, because it's all a knowledge graph. And the canonical source of data is the web page. That means we can run updates. We theoretically should be able to do the whole CRUD cycle in all directions in this knowledge graph. We should be able to connect ActivityPub. We should be able to connect any ATProto app view that has a lexicon defined. And we should be able to connect the ones that don't exist yet and the protocols we don't exist yet. So let's just demo an update. In the background, I updated the original web page to have a little message about the video, and of course, after this video is posted, I'll want to post that. So we want the leaflet record to also have that. So, and again, this is a proof of concept, so this is not how the data store on the live relay currently works. But if we reharmonize this, we'll know that it has an attached at protocol record. When we preview it, we get an update option rather than publish. And if we click update, we go back to Leaflet, and we've got our update here. And at no point did I put information into an Octothorpe's app. I used my website, which I own, to post information, and then I just used OP to connect that information to all the other things that I have told OP are connected to that web page. So that's the thing that we're building. We're kind of building Yahoo pipes. And we've really enjoyed how easy it is to work with ATProto lexicons. And the activity in the atmosphere is really inspiring right now. Yeah, we just wanted to give you a preview of what we're working on. So hopefully we can get your thoughts from the atmosphere. And we love websites, we love new protocols, and we want them to be able to live in harmony. So that's why we're doing this. We've got a lot of other reasons too. You should check out our website and look at the Why We Made Octothorpe's hashtag, and just drop me a line. You can comment on the Leaflet post or on our Blue Sky post, and we'd love to hear what you think.